All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. This is the Holiday Island City Planning Commission regular meeting of April 11th, 2023. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Linda, are you doing the honors on keeping notes?
No, I'm running stuff. Someone else.
Do you want to?
Get for
I need somebody to call roll.
We have a recording you can go back to. So wonderful. Thanks.
I just need somebody to call
Am I
roll.
calling the roll?
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Elwood,
Here.
Commissioner Pittman, absent. Commissioner Kuhn here. Commissioner Graves here. Commissioner Mills.
Here.
Sorry. All here except Jerry.
And I'm here. So I'm gonna declare a quorum. I don't have to rap for that.
No.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move that we approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
You made a motion to approve the agenda. Barb seconded it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have minutes from, the agenda's approved. We have minutes from the regular meeting of March 14th and the workshop for March 28th that Lynn distributed earlier. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes of 14 March. And workshop on 28th of March, is that what you mean?
All right, Ken made a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Linda seconded it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. We don't have any reports at this time. We can move on to old business. We want to review the, basically what amounts to the final draft of the changes that we want to make to the zoning ordinance that we pretty much hashed out in the workshop. So I'm not going to go through all of the changes. Lynn distributed them, highlighted in red again. If anyone has anything that they want to add, take away, or modify or discuss, we can do that at this time.
Okay, we're doing the 1 of 16, right?
No.
Yeah. The one of 16.
Yeah, page 116.
Yeah, page 1 of 16. Actually, it's all 16 pages of that draft. Everything was highlighted in red that we discussed changing.
So, the first thing we got is definitions, right? And just defining what a comprehensive plan is. See, nothing wrong with that.
Well, I think I had a couple of things under definitions.
Just where we're at.
I'm trying to find it. Yeah, under subdivision minor, that's on page 3. In the text, somewhere, I'll point out the section it was in, if I can find it. Where we discussed the minor subdivisions, it was 3, it's section 40.080, and it said 3 or less. Yeah,
That's one of the things we changed, I think, in one of
If
the
we did,
prior workshops. So we need to change that definition to 3.
right.
Subdivisions minor, 3.
3 or less.
Technically, isn't it 3 or fewer?
Well, the text in 40.080 says into 3 lots or less.
Right.
In 2 places.
Yeah.
Lot split and minor subdivision.
Grammatically, in that form, it's correct.
I think so.
But in the definition, I think it should be fewer, if you want to be technical about the grammar. But that's okay.
Into 3 or fewer
Yeah.
is what I'm on. I don't really care.
Not my favorite.
That's
subject.
one of my pet peeves. Nobody uses fewer anymore. They might as well just scratch it from the English language. But technically, there is a difference.
Okay.
Okay, Linda, we got that noted.
Okay. I didn't have anything else in definitions.
Okay.
Can I ask a question though? I did have this underlined here. Up under street existing, it says the street that has a minimum width of 18 feet. Don't you think some of our streets out here have less than 18 feet? I've been over some practically cattle trails that we call streets that have names that are barely 1 lane.
I think they're laid out, they're 18 or 20, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they're all supposed to be. They may have gotten narrower than that because of encroachment over the years, but I think they're supposed to be 18 or 20.
And we have a lot, that we have several gravel roads that are legal roads in HICPC.
But they're not considered a street under this definition.
Okay,
Which are important, extremely will not be qualified, so
okay.
they just wouldn't qualify.
Mark, you had a
Just,
comment?
yeah, just a minor formatting, that confused me when I was reading it. On page 15, under penalty, 40.999.
Takes me a while to get there.
Yeah, I'll give you a second to get there.
This doesn't flick as quick as your paper does. Okay, under 15.
So under A generally, and then it has 1 procedures, and after several bullets, it starts with 2, but there's no header, it put 2A. Maybe we just either put a header under the 2, or just leave it blank and move the A down. Just for reading purposes. I saw in another section of the document where we did that. We left a bullet without a header, and that's okay. And then we just moved the A down. Because I couldn't decide what the header should be for that section, so I'm okay with leaving it blank, but move the A down.
But it's that way under the previous 2 sections too, isn't it? Where the A is right under, there's a section under it, isn't it?
It's under the section header.
Well, this has a section header too, and the A is directly underneath it.
Directly underneath it is good, but 2 is not underneath it, it's beside it. As if that's the title of 2.
Oh, A2?
2A.
49.99?
2A.
Oh, that A. I
That A.
see. I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Now I see where you're talking about.
Yeah, we can change that formatting.
It's just, just a little picky, but
And B isn't indented the same as A either, for that matter.
you're correct. Not indented, it should be
Move A down,
indented.
it will be.
Yeah.
Is there not like a word we could stick in there just to make it?
Well, A is generally, 1 is procedures, 2 would be, to me, it's just the actual penalty. but that's the title of the section, so I didn't know if you wanted a header or two of penalty, which is your fines or whatever. It's picky.
We'll see if we can come up with an appropriate.
In the document we used
Just
to
come some
make
kind of
this,
word to hold that
it
space
didn't
in
have a
there.
header either.
Mhm.
That's it, that's all I have.
Anything else on this document?
Do you wanna go through the sections from prior to the one that she pointed out? By
Only,
section?
only if someone has something that they have, that
Wanted to change.
wanted to change, yeah. It wasn't my intent to read this, this document again. We've already done that twice in prior meetings, so.
I think, one thing about that, where Lynn has, put the information in red, he wants us to okay that, I believe. So if we make no comment against it, we're assuming all the red sections can now be unhighlighted. If we don't talk about it, right? In order to complete the document.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
I'm
that's
good with
correct.
that. I'm good with that.
And, if we don't have any more corrections or anything to make, then the next step for this group would be to prepare a resolution to clean the document up, take all the reds out and all that kind of stuff, and prepare a resolution for the planning commission to vote on at a next meeting, recommending that this be adopted by the city council. And then the city will have to pass an ordinance adopting it.
It's possible Lynn already has a resolution prepared. You can ask him
Probably.
about it.
They have to do that before our meeting on the 18th.
We would have to, well, I misspoke on the resolution. The next step is to have a public hearing on this. We've had a workshop, but not a public hearing.
True.
So the next step is to have a public hearing, which we have to schedule. If we're gonna do it, if we're gonna have the public hearing in conjunction with our May meeting, then we would have to decide that today and get the notification into the newspaper by tomorrow. Which I'm ready to do if we want to.
Can the public hearing be part of the city council meeting?
Not the city council meeting.
It can be prior.
Couldn't
It
it
can
be
be
before?
immediately prior to our next planning commission meeting.
Well, the next planning commission.
No, it's planning commission meeting or city council meeting?
The next planning commission will be in May.
And then we'd have the hearing, just like we did the last time. We'd have the hearing,
Well, we're not
we
gonna try and run.
adjourn the
it through
hearing
this-
and then,
We're not gonna try and run it through this month.
no. We can't do this. The city council can't act on this before May regardless because of the hearing requirement.
Okay. And that's true.
But if we don't act immediately to schedule a hearing, then we're almost into June before the city council comes in
Mhm.
and work on it.
The only thing I had the slightest little problem with, but on page 7,
Which one are we on? Same one?
yeah, same thing, page 7.
Under what section?
Oh, I got out of that. I put it on the screen here.
Okay, page 7.
Okay. Yeah, you have those 3 sections in the middle of the page that say the reserved, and it seems like you need these sections in order to have the ordinance enforced.
Application for approval, review and approval.
That's probably true, but we've got a lot of sections like that where,
But I don't know, if you don't have a section, if you don't talk about how to do the application or how you do the review and approval or the review criteria, how does it get authorized?
But we do have a procedure in place already for,
Application, you got it, Judge.
for requesting a zoning ordinance change or something like that.
But this is to request an approval for a subdivision of some sort. I'm
actually, it's for, this would be application for approval for a preliminary plat. That's what
of
this
the,
would be.
of the
This,
subdivision.
this general section is preliminary plats, you got applicability, the pre-application conference, and then these things follow, application for approval, review,
So,
approval, review.
You just look at a sketch and approve it? You have a pre-application conference,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but there's no criteria for approval of the application.
well, it's possible that they just assumed that conference will give you the, and then the authorization to proceed, which he has in here, is all we have to do.
So it sounds like in paragraph E, right above those three sections that I mentioned, it says that discussions at the pre-application conference shall not imply any approval, but serve as an exchange of information. But you don't, I don't know that you're really gonna know what they're gonna do.
Gotcha.
The general character of the development will be discussed.
I know the authorization to proceed, receive and approve the conditionally approved copy of
I know that's just a preliminary plat approval. And then you go on to the final plat approval. But the final plat, all the improvements are already done. Before you file the final plat, I guess. So an application for a final plat approval may be submitted when one of the following requirements is met. The improvements are actually complete.
the application, the thing for the final plat, those are all reserved too. Review and approval are reserved.
And then, under section 40.060 applicability,
Right.
section, or paragraph B, it says improvements are substantially complete when the subdivision is substantially complete as provided for in section 40.067, which is reserved, not filled in. And owner-developer guarantees completion of the remaining items as provided for in section 40.068, which is not filled in. And in accordance with 40.030, which is not filled in, the final plat may be submitted for final approval. So all the things that you're gonna be qualifying that final plat with are not filled in yet. I'm not sure we can proceed.
Well, it's true of most of these sections here too. I'm getting to the work document that he uses to put all this information in here. Let me find. One second, I'm close.
Yeah, I see your point. If we go ahead and adopt what we have so far, it basically tells everything, tells somebody what the requirements are, but it doesn't provide a process by getting their plan approved. It guides them in how to develop their plan,
The
but
preliminary,
it doesn't
yeah,
it doesn't provide a mechanism by which they would get their plan approved. So why have one if you don't have the other?
and I think
There's
there's a
no-
period of time that there's a maximum period of time in there before you have to get to the final or something. I thought I read that.
So do we need
I'm just
another-
thinking another month might be worthwhile.
Yeah, do we need
Yeah,
another
because
workshop
otherwise-
to work on these sections that are,
Otherwise, we're
Not
gonna have to, otherwise, we're gonna have to
Come
do
back and do
another
it again.
resolution,
right,
another public hearing, another resolution, and another ordinance to add the rest of the pieces of the puzzle. And there's no real rush to get this,
Not a huge one.
I mean, there's.
We need to get it done, but
Yeah.
I think another month, maybe we could get there.
there's only like two or three pages of information in the, document that we're using to create our own. It wouldn't be hard to just type that in there and just have another meeting to go over it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does that also apply to all the other reserved sections that we haven't pulled into our document?
Here are the list of sections that those three that I mentioned were in right there.
That's for final planning.
Yeah,
The one you called attention to was preliminary planning.
the reason why we were kind of in a hurry to get this, this much of it done, is because of, people potentially wanting to split parcels, not put in major subdivisions.
right.
And there may not, the major subdivision part of this may never happen in our lifetime.
Correct.
So,
Well, I think we've got lot splits and parcel splits covered, but actually doing the development, it might not be quite covered.
Maybe that's what he was intending.
So now I'm going back to thinking we should partially go ahead and get the resolution done and get this approved as is, and then do amendments later to finish out all the.
I don't think a month one way or another is going to make any difference. I think we can take another month to try to fill in the reserved sections.
Okay.
And then do one hearing and one ordinance and get it all done at once.
Okay.
There's not, the reserved sections can't be that, complicated. I mean, we're basically modifying and adopting Tawny Town's regulations, so what we need to do is go and see what Tawny Town has in those sections, see how applicable they are.
Yeah, Lynn provided that for
Yeah,
this meeting.
so is that the way we want to proceed?
I thought it would, we were just trying to cover, replatting of parcels. I mean, there doesn't appear to be any way in here to actually approve it, does it? Even that. See how it's split up. 40 was subdivision. Okay, so,
40.082 deals with, lot splits.
Look at 40.082. Up on the screen.
While we're looking at that, I would add lot and parcel splits. Where we say lot splits, I think we should say lot and parcel.
Okay.
the one where we were subdividing lots, we've already had the review of that one. It's not in this section, is it?
It was in this incidental subdivision section, I believe. Remember it said lot split?
Oh, I remember it, we went over it about 60 times. Incidental subdivisions.
But so if it's a parcel split, it would go through this incidental subdivision section way of approval.
And we don't have a way of doing it.
Yeah, we do, because it has the application, the review and approval, the recording, criteria and everything. But it depends on if you want to get more into it before we approve it for real, or just, I'm okay either way. I think it depends on what you see happening then. Here comes Jared.
In this house.
Well, that was what we were trying to do, is to
And
Not take what you just signed is right.
and this
Yeah.
this has to do with subdivisions.
We can?
Thank you.
Incidental subdivisions.
What section were you talking about when you said that we were reserving or referencing all those reserved sections and they weren't filled out?
It's 4080, no,
4047 is what you
Page
started
7.
talking about.
no, actually, it was paragraph, yeah, it was in the 40.060 paragraph. Paragraph B, that's on page 7. Paragraph B has those sections in red.
Yeah.
40.067, 68, and 40.030.
Yeah, and those aren't
And
completed yet.
67 and 68 are on page 8 in reserve still, not filled in.
Correct.
And yet, so that convinced us that we didn't have a process for somebody getting their plans approved. But if you go to section 40.082, it tells you how to get approval of 081 and 082.
But that's an
That's
incidental
for
subdivision,
incidental subdivisions.
which is a different applicability.
Correct. Depends on what you're talking about here. Each has their own applicability and application for for approval and yada yada.
This section is designed to expedite the planning and zoning of minor subdivision lots of planning or adjustment. So that part of it, we're covered, for the lot splits. But we're not covered for subdivisions, right?
What was your question here?
Said, we're covered for lot splits and minor adjustments, but we're not covered for subdivisions. Where you just
Sorry I'm late, but wouldn't that be just adopting the language where it says how to get your plan approved?
yeah, that,
Mm-hmm.
here we're just talking about.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, is talking about taking the time to fill in those sections and.
I think that was the.
Yeah,
I think that was the intent of what we were trying to do.
the part that doesn't seem covered adequately is defined in the applicability paragraph on page 4, 40.006, where it talks about it applies to subdivisions, division of land into 2 or more lots, property line adjustments, large-scale developments, and dedications. I think. Maybe. Because it's all under section 40, which is development and subdivision regulations.
Yep. So that just takes us back to, do we need, you know, to fill in the reserve sections where we can from the tiny town code before we go any further?
So if you can qualify whatever you're planning to do as an incidental subdivision under the applicability paragraph of 40.080, then we've got that one covered.
Right.
If you're outside of that, then it
If you're
doesn't seem to be
doing
covered.
a major subdivision.
Doing something bigger, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so lot splits and incidental subdivisions or whatever.
So included in that is a minor subdivision,
Right.
which is a lot, tract, or parcel divided into 3 lots or less.
So if you go above 3 lots, we're in trouble.
We need some more words.
Yeah. That was it, you know, that was his intent, and I think that's kind of what we started out to do. To, you know, get something in place for somebody wanting to subdivide these parcels, but I don't know whether 3 lots is gonna cover it. Don't know. Should have printed the dang thing out, but just be trying to look at one page after another.
yeah, it's hard when you're going, I can't scroll that fast.
It is not over programmed. There are, you know, means of approving a replat platting of property. Subdivision is a horse of another color. These regulations, subdividing development.
It almost seems like this section 40.06 or 060 is unnecessary. That whole step in the process. I guess without reading what's in those reserved sections in the tiny town ordinance, I'm not quite sure why there would be preliminary plat and final plat. Approval processes, review and approval processes, given that after the preliminary approval, they start working. It's almost like the section 40.060 is more of an inspection process to make sure that they did what they were supposed to do or said they were going to do, as opposed to asking for permission.
It looks to me like you'd be discussing not only zoning, but utilities and streets, new streets, flooding, drainage, trees.
Yeah, but when you get to the large scale developments, it goes through all of that again.
You're talking about in the PUDs?
On page 9, section 40.085 to 94, well, that's reserved. Large scale developments is reserved. Oh yeah, that's for all for the PUDs. I don't know. Now I'm 100% sure we're not ready to have a public hearing, because it doesn't seem like this is laid out. I don't want to say that these are random thoughts, but it doesn't seem to be structured so that,
I don't know if you
if you just want to do a small scale thing, this is what you got to do. If you're going to do you know, large scale development, this is what you have to do. If you're gonna do a planned unit development, then this is what you have to do.
Yeah, it does
But-
kind of divide it into 3 sections.
But if you read that paragraph C above the section 47, it is, pre-applicant shall not imply any approval of subsequent preliminary or a final plat for the ready to serve. You've got to go on and do some kind of application for approval and review and approval. However, it may be just be applicable to subdivisions, I don't.
Well, I would move that we hold off and work on this another month.
Yeah.
I mean, actually saw some that makes sense yesterday, and now it doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
That's why we get together to discuss it.
Yeah, each section, when you read it-
I'm reading it again, and now I don't even understand it.
each section, when you read it all by itself, seems to make sense.
Yeah,
But
that's,
then when you try to think of it in a process flow, you know, if I were the developer,
Yeah.
you know, what's the process? What do I do? It's hard to follow.
I think I agree with Linda, we have to think about this again.
We just need to restructure it. I
wish-
don't know
I
if
wish we
we'll
could
change
get
that
done
much content,
with it
but we
today.
need to resequence things.
I think that's the
Well,
whole
just
problem I had
complete
yesterday, I
it.
read through this
Yeah.
one, I'll read this page, and then I come back and read this page, and everything makes sense, but now it's not, it's
The
not,
flow is not right.
it's not fitting together.
I think we
So-
got apples and oranges.
So Linda, do you wanna move to table this until we,
Maybe hold another workshop or something.
yeah, hold another workshop, schedule another workshop?
And I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right,
I can't figure out what we're trying to build.
let's try to schedule that workshop right now, even though scheduling comes at the end of the meeting, while it's fresh in our mind, but we look at our calendars and see when we could do that yet, maybe this month.
25th? Tuesday the 25th?
We only do things on the Tuesdays.
Well, we don't have to do it on Tuesday.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Thursday would work fine for
Oh,
me,
Tuesday, yeah, I hear you.
Tuesday is a one day a week I play golf.
and Wednesday would be ladies golf, so Thursday,
Thursdays,
Thursday.
nothing,
Thursday.
27th?
27th.
that works for me.
Well, right now, I don't have anything on.
1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Let's go 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
How about right 1 o'clock?
Workshop.
And I'll probably take a crack at this, anybody else that wants to have their shot at it, they can. And eventually, I'm sure Lynn will get his feet back under him, and he'll want to,
I need to do it, Barbara, I
Be a
need
big part of
to
that.
print it out.
You
Because for some reason,
Maybe it's
it's
2
all
weeks.
there, and it's not,
I think you
I
gotta
have
go
this
back
up
and look
and
at
the
that,
Huntington one, so I
you
can
have
go
to
back.
flip it back and forth.
what the originating document is, you know.
Okay, now we've made that agreement for,
27.
old business, the first one. Reviewing 40, are we making the same decision for the
And
other part of,
you
you know, for the B on old business? Are we gonna go through that today?
see what it is, because Lynn just sent that out,
Let's take a
I
look
haven't
at
had
it
time to
first.
digest it.
It's shorter at least.
it's so short, I can't find it.
It's just a,
It's just a
in the
little 6-page
workshop.
document. I only
But
have
you
one
didn't-
comment
you
in there, so.
Right.
Where is it?
To make this official, the next thing on the agenda is to review changes to section 40 and
Section
7.5.
No, section 750.
Oh, no, that's,
Section 750, planned unit development.
Bud is another horse. different.
Probably that's what the last meeting was all about. What we
It
got
was
left?
about 40 and 1050, yeah. When I compared, section 750 to what we discussed in the workshop, I didn't have any problem with this consolidated, updated document, except for one letter.
No changes.
Everything else is just like we talked about. The wording is all the same.
This is a special kind of unit. Condominiums or, patio homes or.
We have some spaces some of those could go on to, I think.
Well, I think Tom, when I was on the board, we replatted that down by the horseshoe, what is it? Horseshoes now. You never did build them.
Does everybody have that 6-page document that?
Yeah. Finally found it. I didn't have any problems with it, but given what we've gone through so far today, I would have to probably want to go back and read through it again to make sure.
Well, the good news is on this particular document, there's only one reserved that we need to talk about, that he has in red on page 2. Goes in there.
Yeah, we have no idea what would have gone in there.
Yeah. And I think we reserved that because the section D in the housing contract did not apply to us. So he said just reserve D instead of renumbering everything.
Yeah, they have an association.
I think we're okay with that.
And here again, this is probably a section of our zoning ordinance that'll never even come up.
Correct, so I don't know how much time.
I don't know,
we spend on this
if
one.
somebody wanted to come in and build some condos, this is what you're gonna use.
I don't know that building condos would fall under the category of a PUD
Sounds
district.
like it to me.
Well, it showed, when I read it, it sounded like it to me too.
And maximum choice types and they provide for small and large scale development incorporating a single type or variety of residential and developers units. Land in a PUD shall be owned, leased, or otherwise controlled by a person.
I think it's sort of for a combination, perhaps, when they talk about units, it could be residential or commercial, but it's sort of a planned development within our development.
Right.
Right, and I don't know of any, there may be one parcel big enough to do that, but
Yeah, no more than one or two,
yeah.
unless they were pretty small.
So, you know,
This is a minimum of 2 acres.
I'm just saying on this 6-page document, I don't think there's anything we need to update or change.
Right.
We just need to approve because these are changes we made from the workshop, he just consolidated all the document.
Mhm.
So the only thing I have is on page 1, there's an extraneous letter that doesn't need to be there. Under A, and it says P, comma, general description. I don't know if he meant to put PUD,
Well, the second,
or just leave that P, comma out of there, just general
you
description.
go down,
Yeah.
procedures for obtaining PUD zoning, and it says section 40, development subdivision regulations.
Okay, where are you?
What paragraph are you talking about, Ken?
It's page 3, and procedures for obtaining. The second step involves submission of a formal application for rezoning of the area to a PUD district and sign its preliminary plat in accordance with section 40 development subdivision.
I don't know who's that. I'm lost as to where you're at, Ken, on page 3.
Huh?
Y'all can't hear each other, you're gonna have to talk louder.
Yeah,
On page 3, it refers back to section 40 development. It's this submission of a formal application for rezoning of the area to a PUD district.
But all Barb's saying is that in that section, in that paragraph A, on page 1, the P serves no purpose.
right.
It's not there's not an,
Doesn't mean anything.
there's not an A through O
No.
ahead of it, so it just doesn't mean anything. It
Ken's
just
on
needs to be
page 3,
scratched.
though.
The Ken's on page 3, so we scratched that extraneous P, and then on page 3, I'm still not real sure where you're at, Ken.
Just a minute. It has to do with getting form approval. Paragraph D,
Yep.
and it refers back to the one that we just kind of tabled.
Correct.
And getting, how you go about getting the plat approved. So this would be contingent on getting 40.
True. Yeah, we can't approve this section until we approve 40.
Right.
I would agree.
And in page 4, it refers back to 40 again.
Okay. So when we get section 40 in its final form, then we could attach this to the same resolution to,
It has 3 steps outlined here, step 1, 2, and 3, and they all refer back to section 40.
Right.
Okay,
Well, we took care of that.
this is so easy.
I feel like Dumb and Dumber.
All right, so we're gonna go back, not all the way back to the drawing board, but we're gonna go back and take one more look at section 40.
I think we need to refer to
Hash
that
it out in the workshop.
And that workshop.
county town document, and see what's in those sections.
Yeah, I'll do that. Well, everybody can. Lynn sent you
Lynn sent it to everybody.
to everybody, yeah. Okay, enough on that. We can go on to new business. Is John Griffith here? I didn't think he
With
was.
the real John Griffith stand up.
He didn't come?
I told him that I would put him on the agenda. He didn't, actually, he never got back to me, but I did, the bank called me and the bank that owns that property, and after having discussed the whole thing with him, I didn't really expect Mr. Griffith to be here. They're just not that far along. Okay, determination on a public hearing is rescheduled. We already discussed that we're not ready for a public hearing, so. I guess that's it for our agenda items. Public comments? 3-minute limit?
Are you here for that?
Go ahead.
No, please.
Don House, 68 Schiltzburg. I may not be in tune with everything y'all are doing with the BOC, but I was going to suggest that perhaps the BOC and the city of Holiday Island should get together once every quarter to have a group powwow, kind of what's going on with us. It seems to me, from going to several BOC meetings and coming here, it seems to me sometimes, and maybe I've got the wrong impression, but sometimes there's not enough communication between the two parties. And I was thinking that once every quarter, every 3 months or 4 months, something like that, maybe get a powwow between the BOC members and the city of Holiday Island. I think that would be a good idea. So that's my comment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm next. My name is Bob D'Souza. I'm a property owner over here on Bandy on the island. And
Excuse me, Bob, could you spell your last name?
yeah, it's Desouza. Anyway, we've been coming down here for over 30 years. My brother-in-law built one of the first houses on the island, and we've enjoyed it for years. We've always had a boat in the marina, still do. My wife and I are married 40 years. We've been nationwide for the better part of 40 years. We've owned many campers and vans, and we decided on Holiday Island for retirement. So we're in our 4th year now. We're down 3 years going on to our 4th year, and we love it, okay? As far as planning, I guess you guys have a lot to do with planning here. It's obvious to me that there was a real lack of planning and zoning during the bonanza days of Holiday Island. And I say that because it seems odd to me that someone would have built 3 new cottages directly across from a storage unit, right here. And people come in and rent, and they're allowed to park their construction equipment in front of their house, while they're living in a unit. So there's a lot of that. I'm not looking to assign blame, and certainly not to any of you. I'm very confused about the difference between HICPC and the city. And you get a Holiday Island newsletter. Now, is that like the old HICPC, or is that part of the new city? I mean, quite honestly, I don't even know if I'm in front of HICPC right now or the city of Holiday Island.
Neither, you're in front of the
Neither.
planning.
Planning commission for the city.
But we're the city.
For the city.
We are
Okay, so this really could just as easily read, welcome to the meeting of the city of Holiday Island, right?
And the newsletter is issued by HICPC.
HICPC, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And basically is stuff they're reporting on, but we put our announcements in there.
okay, good. I mean, we're extremely happy, with everything that's going on. Like I said, my brother-in-law's been here for 35 years. So a lot of the things that he has answers to questions for us and stuff are back in the day, kind of, well, this is the way it used to be done, and well, yeah, it was always done. Anyway, my main objective for coming here was in the confusion between the new city and the old district and them both working together. I have an issue with a king-size mattress that is presently lodged on the bank of Leatherwood Creek, and it's been there for a year. And I went to the district office, and I got one of these, well, go see the city. And I went to the city, and they said, well, it must be DEP, and, the Army Corps. And I'm like, okay. And it's a perfect time for people to be going like this, who's on first, and I understand that, it's acceptable to me that there's confusion between the parties because it's all new. They're completely acceptable. I understand it. But the fact of the matter is, I had a good friend of mine down here recently, last fall, and we're out on my brand new boat, and we're cruising how beautiful everything is. And we go up into the creek, we come back down, and there is a homeless man putting bed sheets on his mattress with preparing a hot cooked meal on the edge of the lake over there. I'm like, my neighbor's like, what is this guy, homesteading here or what, you know? So nothing's been done about it, other than it looked like maybe somebody cleared some stuff out, but the mattress is still over there, you know? And this particular friend of mine hit it real good in life, and he's looking at $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 homes to buy here. And he's on my boat looking over at the, so if you don't mind, I just wanted to, you can pass this down amongst you. I don't think this is the proper board to be addressing this.
Oh, it's close.
But you guys can have some juice here. You got some pull. So, you know, if you want to avoid some embarrassment with a friend or family or relatives on a nice summer day, maybe over a holiday, don't bring your boat into the creek. Because if they look at that,
How far down is it?
It's right by this
if
little
you went
drive
right
down here.
right down.
I
onto
drove
Leather-
down there and looked at it, but it was raining that day and the mattress was soggy.
Well, I think the person who claims that's theirs, I think they picked it up and purposely trying to dry it out
Yeah,
and had it sort of lodged up in the brush, and now it's back down flat. And before you know it, you're gonna see a car there, and you're gonna see a guy.
Or two or three.
that is close.
Yeah. And I don't think it's a good thing to have. I just wanted to make that point. Like I said, I don't really think this is the actual
Well, yeah,
body to address on that, but you folks certainly, I think you're all near and dear to the people who could probably, because, you know, otherwise it's,
we know,
I mean-
know the mayor.
what's that?
We know the mayor.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I figured, yeah. I mean, look, I understand that after the spring floods, we see everything from water heaters to the swimming dock from the Beaver State Park. I've seen that break loose twice.
Come up and float it away.
You know, and I've seen all kinds of things floating down here during the storms. I would just hate to see the mattress being one of them.
I can tell you, I did, you probably called me on this.
Yeah,
And I did drive down.
You
and
saw
looked
it.
at it
yeah,
and everything. Sometimes if it's laying in the ditch along the road or something like that, a lot of times the HICPC road department will clean it
sure,
up.
understand.
Otherwise, it is the city's responsibility. But we don't have a public works department, so the public works department is me. A couple months ago, somebody unloaded an old mattress and a box spring and a couple of chairs and a bunch of junk up here on the end of Dogwood. And so I went up there and I loaded it on my pickup truck and I took it over to Carroll County, and the city paid $45 to take the crap. But that's how it gets dealt with these days. And we can't catch the person down there. I don't know how often somebody is down there. I don't know if it's even the same person all the time. But squatting along the lake here or squatting somewhere in Holiday Island is a regular occurrence. And, when we see it, we either try to get the sheriff's deputy to run them off or somehow try to deal with it, but it's a regular problem. That's not the first time somebody was squatting alongside of the Leatherwood.
Oh, I've seen a number of the
Trail a
squatters
couple
here,
years ago.
but I haven't seen anyone so brazen as to bring in a king-size mattress.
Well, this guy
That's a
over
little
here,
brazen. I
this
mean,
guy
the
off
sleeping
of
bag is
Leatherwood-
different.
This guy off of Leatherwood had a tarp tent built between two trees with a hammock in it. And he had a little grill down there where he
Yeah, yeah.
cook his meals and stuff. I mean, he was living there.
Well, I mean, HICPC has some kind of a public works department, right?
Yeah, and,
And I mean, if you're the new mayor of the city and HICPC's right here, I mean, you don't have to really grease a palm to get somebody to do you a favor, do you? I mean, what does it take to ask somebody, hey, I mean, you're the mayor. Hey, maybe you could get somebody over there to drag that mattress out of there? Because
yeah,
it could be killing new home sales.
we'll try to get, we'll try to
That's
get
all
it.
so you are the mayor, yeah.
Catch the person so that,
Yeah.
because otherwise, 2 weeks from now, there'll be another old mattress. living.
I doubt it. I'm in my 4th year here, and that's the first and only one I've seen. And I'm intimate with the lakeshore. I go up all the way up to Kimberling in my boat,
Yeah,
and I was just up at the bridge, 62 bridge, up on the White River. So I've gotten to know I'm one of the more active boaters out of the marina, and I've never seen a mattress on the shore. It's almost comical.
I want to thank you for bringing it up, because I had not heard about it.
Yeah, well, it's pretty well, you went there, it's pretty well almost hidden down there.
Yeah.
And once the leaves are on the tree, if you don't know what you're looking for, probably why it's there.
and we don't want to get the Corps involved because they'll make us chain the road off and then nobody will be able to go down there.
That's a good point too, so, you've got my name there, my number's in the phone book. If you want a hand someday, give me a call. Be happy to go down there with you.
I'll call you this week. We'll get it done.
You call me.
It's supposed to be sunny all week.
If you get down there with a trailer or a pickup truck or something,
Volunteers are hard to find.
yeah, well,
Write it down.
last time I volunteered, I ended up in the middle of the Indian Ocean eating off a steel tray.
If I can say something, we have a road cleanup day coming up.
Yes,
pretty
yeah.
soon, so-
Yeah.
I don't know if the mattresses will get picked up, but
It'd be a good time to do that.
They take mattresses, but
But
We just have to put it someplace.
you have to put it in front of somebody's house.
we'll take it up and.
Drag it out
Sunny
there.
man's
I'm
house.
guessing they put out 2 mattresses, and one of them ended up down there.
I'm gonna volunteer.
Anyway.
There's a mattress in a
Yeah.
box.
That's all I really wanted to come and say and show you that picture, and you've seen it, so it's over there. Other than that, we're delighted with Holiday Island. We know it's going through changes. And, one thing my wife says, one thing you can bet on in life, it's change.
All right, thank you.
But anyway, thank you all. Good luck in your planning. I'm glad I'm not on that side of things. Have a good one.
Okay. All right, our next regular meeting will be, the second,
Commissioner comments, or do you want to have any?
what? Oh, that's it for public comments.
Commissioner
Oh,
comments.
commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments?
Yeah, when do we get off of this board?
That's a good comment.
Probably as soon as you can find a volunteer to take your place.
We let one go here just now.
I was gonna ask Don, are you the lone member of the Board of Adjustment?
Well,
Mr. Hughes
Lynn-
was here earlier.
Lynn is still,
Briefly.
I have to appoint another person. I don't know if you're aware of that, but Steve resigned.
And I don't know if he would accept it, but I suggested to Lynn that you might ask Dave Moon.
I did.
Oh,
I mean, I didn't ask him yet, but I have a note to do that.
okay, well, I just suggested it,
Yeah.
and I don't know if he'll accept or not.
I think he might.
I think he might too.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments? And our regular meeting is May
Tuesday, May
9th.
9th?
But I'm going to request that we move the meeting to 3 o'clock for the benefit of the golfers.
Oh, yeah, on Tuesdays.
Otherwise, it's gonna be a
Just
problem.
me.
Has it always been at 1 o'clock,
Huh?
That's what I always been on.
this meeting?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was set up by ordinance or something, maybe, might need to change that name.
Yeah, I think we'd have to look at our rules and regulations, but
What, Tuesday, 3 o'clock, April 9th?
yeah, let's meet at 3 o'clock. And I'll look to see if we need to change. If everybody's okay with that, we would change it permanently.
Fine with me.
ruins the afternoon anyway, so as long as we get it done by supper time.
Might as well get me in here aggravated, having had a bad round, so I'm in a really bad mood.
That'd be every day.
Yeah, nearly anymore.
What day did we decide that on there, man?
May 9th. Regular.
I wish I didn't have to drive to San Antonio now.
And we already set up the workshop,
Leave it right now for San
so,
Antonio.
anything else?
I would have one.
Motion to adjourn,
I'll move we adjourn.
Linda made a
I'll second
motion,
that.
Jerry, you wanna second it?
Oh, sure.
Jerry seconded it, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
We're not going all the way today, though. We're just gonna go to the kid's house today in San Antonio in the morning.
Well, you know,